All right. Going 1, 2, and 3. So at this time, I'm going to switch over. Ransom Brown, are you ready to share your screen?
Yep. Let me just do that right away.
So the next workshop is keys to starting your business.
Okay, so is my screen showing now? I'm not too sure.
Ransom, yes, your screen is showing.
You can see my screen. Oh, okay, yeah. Anyway, so good afternoon once again, and welcome to everybody on the platform. Basically, I'm going to run through 5 basic keys that we need to employ when we want to start a business.
Ransom, can you speak up a bit louder?
You can. Okay, is it audible enough now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I was saying that basically I'm going to run through 5 basic steps when it comes to starting a business. This is not going to be exclusive. Basically, it's just to give us an idea, some of the things that we need to look out for prior to starting a business. Of course, as we have further meetings, we'll definitely go into other areas. So my task is basically to highlight on 5 steps. But before I do that, I would just want to briefly describe or help us understand. I'm sure we know already what a business is. But basically, for the sake of this presentation, I just want to run through that quickly. Yeah, so when we're talking about a business, we are looking at an enterprise, we are looking at an organization. It could be a sole proprietorship, it could be a limited liability, whichever, so far as there is a commercial bit, a profit motive. It could be non-profit as well, but at the end of the day, some transactions need to have taken place, of course, to achieve the purpose for which the organization or the entity was set up. And so before we think of starting a business, what we need to look at is to, first of all, do a market research. Of course, for every business to stand, you need to know what you are going to compete against. And so you need to survey the market, looking at whatever it is you want to sell. If you want to sell perishables, if you want to sell clothing, whatever it is that you want to sell, you need to, of course, study your market. You need to know what the demand is for that particular market. You also need to know who is already on the market, what it is they are doing, and what it is that you also need to do differently. You need to look at what the pricing is on the market to better help you also understand what you are going into. You also need to look at the physical environment, because it's not every product that can be sold at any place. And so in your analysis, in your market research, these are some of the things that you are going to look out for. And so the very first key thing is to conduct a market analysis that will help you find a competitive advantage for your business. And then having done that, you need to then put up a business plan. For sole proprietors, mostly they don't develop a business plan, because they feel that, okay, I know I'm just selling maybe this product or I'm selling that product. And so when I talk about a business plan, I'm not necessarily referring to a proposal or a booklet that you have detailed all that you are going to do or all that you intend to achieve with your business. But basically, you should have a plan as to how you are going to run your business. You should have a plan that will direct your business. You should have a plan that will help you grow your business. And that's when we are talking about a business plan, we are looking at the purpose, we are looking at the mission, we are looking at the vision, we are looking at your strategy for marketing, and we are looking at your pricing. I mean, every other thing that will help your business to grow. You need to put that together. You may not be able to put it in a plan and have it in a booklet that you are going to run through, but at least if you have some convention in your head as to how your business will go, it will also help and direct your business. But the key thing is to have a very clear vision of whatever it is that you want to accomplish as a business. And then, I mean, after planning for your business, because after planning for your business, the next thing is to look at how to fund the business. And I'm sure once you start, once you have a plan, you know what the cost components will be, because your plan is going to tell you where your office will be located. Your plan is going to tell you what you are going to sell. Your plan is going to tell you how much you are going to sell it. Your plan is going to tell you what you're going to get as profit at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year. And so that gives you an idea, after having conducted your analysis and everything, it gives you an idea what and how you need to fund, how much you need to fund your business. Well, when it comes to funding your business, a lot of people will start off by going in for a loan, okay, because maybe when they look at the capital that they need to start the business with, they obviously will not have it at hand. And so a lot of the people will just run and then go into looking for loans. But the thing is, when you're looking for loans, the question you ask yourself is, how do you intend to facilitate that loan once you have it? And so even before you think of going for a loan, you need to ask yourself, what are some of the things you can do to get some things for free? For instance, if you want to start up a business, is it worth it having that luxury space? Is it worth it having that big space? You might just start off small, and it all comes from the business plan. You might just want to start off small and then grow from there. But maybe because you want to match what competition is offering, you want to start off with what they have already started, what they already having. But mind you, they started from somewhere and you are now coming to meet them. And so it doesn't make, let me say, it doesn't make a business sense to match them right from the start. You also need to look at what you have and then start from there. So you need to start small and then build up. Another thing is that you also, prior to you starting the business, you also need to build some savings or some expenses, because yes, obviously your business needs to be funded, but the savings and loans company or the banks or the finance company may not be able to fund 100% of your business. And so you might want to have some savings from somewhere that you can use to start off your business. Of course, when you are starting a business too, you definitely will have some friends, some family members who might want to help. And so you can also source for some funding from them. You know, so after having done all these things, you then will have an idea, whatever it is that is left that you need to add up to your business to make it whole to run. And so then you can look at applying for a business loan in case you need that extra cash. There are also some organizations that give grants, and also there are some institutions that do some local funding, that have local funding opportunities that you might want to look at. And so when it comes to funding your business, you can have that in various forms. But then the first point of call shouldn't be the banks or shouldn't be the savings and loans, because you are now starting the business. You don't know how it's going to end. Even though you have a business plan, things might turn out in a different way, which might not support the loan that you've gone for. At the end of the day, your profit margins may be used in paying the loan. So you might want to consider other sources of income, other sources of funding for your business. And then having found out your funding opportunities, you also then need to pick your business location, because the location of your business is very, very, very important, because it will determine to a very large extent the profitability and the success of the business that you are entering into. So for someone who is intending to sell yams and fish and all those local products that we have here, you might first consider, operating from the market instead of operating from the mall, because you know that a lot of these people who buy these perishables will first of all go into the local markets because they feel, yes, I can get it cheaper over there. Of course, you can also have your shop in the mall. You can also, brand yourself in such a way that, yes, people can still come. But the thing is, the first point of call will be the local markets, because that is where people find it cheaper. And so if you want to start off, with what people are used to, what people are comfortable with, what will generate quick profit for you, or what will help your business stand as much as possible. So you need to really look at where your business is located. And of course, the location of your business must be within your budget. And when you're doing that also, you need to think about both your vendors and then your suppliers, because for whatever you are selling, there will be some people, there'll be some people who will be supplying you, especially with the perishables. They'll be supplying you from the farms and all of that. And you also have some people coming to buy from you as well. So wherever your location is, it should be in such a way that whoever is supplying you will be comfortable. Whoever is also buying from you will be comfortable. At the end of the day, it becomes a win-win situation for everybody. So the location of your business is also very, 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 very important. Another thing you need to look at when you're picking your location is to also consider a location that is very safe. You also need to look at a location that there's demand, like I said earlier on. And so you might first want to consider selling your products at the local market before maybe any other place that you think you can get sales from. Okay, so, and of course, you also will know, you also will have an idea the best place where you can locate your shop or your business from your market analysis, because then that will inform your decision. That will also tell you where people easily go to get their foodstuffs from.
Ransom?
Yep.
Kwabena has joined.
Kwabena has joined. Oh, okay, finally. Welcome, Kwabena.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, so Kwabena was supposed to say something on the funding, if I'm right. Yeah, so maybe when I finish with the last point, then he can just add up to it.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, so again, you also need to, having done all that, you need to now register your business. Registering your business is very, very important. But before you do that, you need to look at the business name that reflects the brand that you are creating for yourself, because the name obviously will tell us the kind of things you're selling, and the name will obviously carry your vision and your mission across. And so once we hear the name of your business, at least we have an idea what to expect. And you as a businessman or as an entrepreneur shouldn't also disappoint, because once you pick that business name, you should make sure you work towards achieving that that brand, And so after picking the business name, you're okay with it. It's now time to protect your brand. And the best way you can do that is to register it. A lot of us, we just have, especially the local sellers at the market, they just pick names on the board on their shops, and they don't even bother registering it. But it's also very important. That way, you know that your brand is protected. You know that your vision and your mission statements are also protected. And so you need to register your business, obviously. It comes with some other legal obligations that you need to look at. You need to get some licenses down, especially for the foodstuffs. Those that will be selling the foodstuffs, you need to get your permits, you need to get your FDA licenses, certificates, and all of that. And again, during the market analysis stage, you will get to find out what the legal obligations are, because once you are selling perishables, you know that, okay, I need to have this, I need to have that license, I need to have that permit. And so whilst you're registering your business, you also need to think of getting all those permits, because that then guarantees and that tells us that, yes, you are in good standing with the business that you are operating. And that way, you build the confidence of people in patronizing your products. Again, after registering your business, the next thing is to open a business account. A lot of market women and foodstuff sellers and all of that, they hardly operate business accounts because they feel that they are mainly not that literate. And so most of them settle with the monies in their homes, in their susu boxes and all of that. But of course, having a bank account is also very, very important because it will help you to manage and keep the records of whatever it is that you are getting out of the business. It will also help you get some interest at the end of the day, because then if you have your money sitting in the bank, you know, you monitor the expense as against the income, and that tells you what your profit levels are. It also helps you to have a proper bookkeeping system, if I may put it that way. And so it's very, very important that you speak to maybe a finance expert to get an advice on what it is that you can do to, you know, get more interest at the end of the day. So basically, if you are looking at starting a business, you need to, at the foundation level, you just need to look at these 5 things. You analyze your market, you develop your business plan, you pick a good business location, you also look at how to fund your business, and then you register your business and you're good to go. But before I end, I just would want Kwabena to come in and talk about the funding, being a funding expert.
Thank you. So I'll go straight. So if you can go to the funding of business, mainly the 2 types of funding for a business is basically the equity and the liability. And your decision for funding your business is basically will mainly dwell on your market research. Normally, that's what I advise. If you do your market research well, it gives you an indication of the type of business you are entering into. Now, when it comes to equity, basically, you are starting the business from your funds, your savings, or you get a partner. Sometimes we have venture capitalists that might come in on an equity front, but definitely you must know that a venture capitalist will, at the end of the tenure, would take out his money back because he's coming in for a period, make returns and go, but he come in as equity. So basically equity, that's, let me explain it, equity ownership. So when you are starting a business, you might decide to start with partners, and then they all decide on equity. You decide on a share based on amount each person contributes. So that's equity. We even have some in our local balance where sometimes even in farming, you see the owner of the land contributing the land, and then someone contributes labor, and someone also contributes the money for then it is shared, the proceeds are shared per the percentages. So equity is there, and then liability basically could be a loan, it could be a business angel. Again, venture capitalists can also come in through liability. Liability, basically, they are not coming in to own a part of the business, but they are giving you funds so that you will pay back. Now, the differences between equity and liability, major difference that with the equity, he is bearing the risk of, if there's a loss, it means that he is also losing a percentage of whatever is happening. But with liability, whether you make gain or loss, you just go by the terms. So for instance, if you go for a loan from a bank, whether your business succeeds or not, you are bound by the terms and conditions of the loan that you contracted. Now, normally, when you are starting business, especially in our terrain in Africa, a lot of banks run away from granting you loans with a startup. Even ADB that we felt that was coming for agriculture are no more giving loans to an agriculture sector. So this is a reality. Every business, especially the financial sector, run away from startups. But one of the surest way, as I said, is the equity for a startup. With equity, the person, you are starting a business, so the person is owning either loss or gain. And so the person will put in his all to help in supporting your business. But in my earlier statement, I made mention of the fact that your decision of choosing equity or liability will mainly dwell on the market survey that you did, which Ransom has spoken at large with. Most businesses, especially in our terrain, when you are doing the market research and you are not careful, enter the market and then they will tell you, oh, this business, there's a lot of money in it, and you don't know the dynamics. You are not too sure. And so someone will advise it is better to start with your money, equity, full 100% equity. Know the dynamics of the business before you invite other people in. But some people are also of the thought, other philosophers are also of the thought that if the idea is very good, then go for a loan. There's other philosophers, that's their thought. But in our terrain, normally our advice that, equity is the best option when you are starting a startup. You get to know the terrain, at least your first year, your forecast, your financial plan, your forecast, you're able to meet about 50 to more than half of whatever you forecasted. In that case, when you are going for a loan, you have a reliable data in going for contracting a loan or in contracting a liability on a financial statement. If you don't come to this understanding and you start with a liability, if you don't take care, you end up using your financial, your personal funds to pay off that loan. In that, I'm not saying that you should give up on the way, but what I'm trying to say is that it is better to be cautious, start with something small that you have, know the rudiments of the game, of the business, and then you can decide to contract a loan. But again, there are other opportunities like the venture capital there, where they come in with flexible, good terms. That is also an option and we need to go. Thank you.
So at this time, before Ransom continues, we have decided that for some members who would want this to ask their question in the native language, which is, or the going language, which is Chi, can do so. And yeah, it's a very good question. What is a venture capitalist? So Kwabena, do you want to take that? Or Angie, can you monitor that in the chat? So I'm going to make a plug in the native language. Mepacho selbi wahana owo asembisa bi wo a opese obisa wo twi mu a obetimi akasa say na meso mahwe se metimi amanu imuaya. Albert Owusu, ubetimi akasa, or you can speak. You have to take yourself off mute first, though. Albert, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, please, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you? Yeah, I was saying that I'm into this wireless intercom telephone, and from the analysis being given, it seems going for a loan to start a business is not advisable. So what should I do? And I see somebody typing ventures capital. And what is ventures capital? I need a light on that. And what should I do now?
Angie, can you answer? I saw you put it in the chat.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Albert. So I mentioned that venture capital basically refers to individuals or groups. So their main aim is to provide funding for startups, and they would usually become part owners of the business. I think Kwabena explained it a bit earlier.
Yeah.
So in Ghana, we have I don't know where you are, but if you're in Ghana, we have the Venture Capital Trust.
Yes, I'm in Accra.
Yeah, in Accra, yes. There's a venture capital trust fund that does that. Mm-hmm. But usually you may need to provide, maybe you need to be registered as a business, and then you need to have your documentation even before they can fund your business.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And just to
let me just
Angela.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, please finish up.
No, Ransom, you can continue. I was going to say that I'm just going to get their website URL and put it in the chat.
Okay. Just to add to what Angela is saying, even when you are a startup or when you're now starting up, it's very difficult to get loans granted from the banks and then from the savings and loans as well, or other financial institutions, because the risk, I'm sure they will consider, is very high. And so it's difficult. Even if you get some level of funding, it wouldn't be to a large extent, maybe depending on the kind of collateral you provide. And even with that, they still will be a bit hesitant. So it's advisable to look at other areas, including the venture capital. That is, some people don't mind if other investors have a share of their business. But if you want to have your full share of your own business, then of course you need to look at other sources of funding. Otherwise, if you are open to investors owning parts of your business, I think it's fine. You can go with it.
Yeah, and I will add that sometimes people hesitate to give ownership to others because they feel this is my business and I don't want anybody to own part of it. But as I heard it in one presentation given by someone who has started businesses, if you think about big companies like Amazon and Facebook, Currently, their founders own less than 20% in those companies. But look how well they are doing and how much money they have. So if your business is really a great idea, you shouldn't really be afraid of giving part ownership to someone who can really take you to the next level.
Just to add something small to it, as Efia said, it is better to own 5% of a successful business than to own 100% of a business that's not successful. So it's a basic principle. And then the venture capitalist, normally venture cap, as Angela has given you the office in Accra, they will ask for a proper business profiling, your business plan and everything. And then normally they will look at the prospects and then they will tell you, okay, I'm investing, say, $20,000, and then we will stay in a business for 5 years, and then we will want this percentage after 5 years. We will take back our $20,000, and each year, as profits are being declared, they are part of the business. So you should also know that they will take their share of the dividends. So be told. So normally, when you're entering a venture capital, when you need a venture capitalist to come in, you have to put in some structures. So you must know that. So it's a nice avenue that we can take note of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so please, between the capital, ventures capital and loan, which one will be the best? Because from your analysis, it seems we are all talking of collateral, then getting financial support from the ventures. So in case maybe I want to go for loan, so what would be the best? Is it the ventures capital or the loan?
I think, let me jump in again. I think the number one thing is your own personal savings, if you have, to kickstart the business. Then if you have family and friends who can give you some of their money so you return it later without interest, that will also be another nice stop. And then I would say the venture capital is because the person investing in the business has a vested interest in it being successful. They typically give oversight for the direction of business. Probably you are a very technical person, but maybe the venture capitalist maybe has an MBA or is more business savvy than you are, or with marketing or something. So they not only give you the money, they give you the money, but they also give you the advice and expertise that they bring to the table. And then with the bank, maybe Kwabena and the coaches can speak to it. I don't know if they give you any oversight other than you returning their money when it's due. So that might be the steps that I will consider.
We're noted.
Albert, just also add, I think that the decision, as I said, it's basically depending on you. But the challenge that we've elaborated, that with the loans, the banks, as we said, most banks here in Ghana run away from startup. This is the basic truth. It is few startups they support. The bank will not come in your operations to do anything to support you with your operations. And they've given you loan and you are bound by the contract. As I said, whether you are successful or not, they will run after you for their money. So they don't come in as a venture capitalist to come in your management and even request for certain roles that they will fill in. For the bank, no, they wouldn't do it. So if you want the bank, this is the way. They will give the money, they don't come in, and everything is your own running, but you must make sure you pay the amount, and which I'm saying that it is practically say 20% or 10% that a startup will get financing from a bank. But with a venture capital, yes, they do, or savings from a friend. And anyway, one thing I always see, social capital. I mean, in Africa, that's one of our gifts that we have, social capital, and we must make use of our friends, family. And I always say, if your friend, you don't have any friend or family to tap into your idea, then I don't see how a bank who you don't know will tap into your idea. So these are some of the options that are available. But then for the bank loan, it is very difficult at the initial stage. Every bank want to come in and they want to deal with tried and tested businesses. But hey, there's still room. You can make it.
I see Bright Bobby has raised his hand. After Bright Bobby, I will allow the team to finish their presentation. This has been great. These have been great questions, and then we'll continue the questioning later. So Bright Bobby.
Okay, thank you, Evia. Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, everyone. My question is, I've heard about only 15% of startups are likely to succeed, meaning that about 75% of startups are likely to fail before the first 1 year or within the first 1 year. If that is true, what are the challenges we have as young entrepreneurs or up and coming entrepreneurs in Ghana and, for that matter, Africa as a whole? What are the challenges young entrepreneurs and business startups are likely to face that will lead to this massive failure within the first 1 or 3 years? And then how we can be able to overcome such challenges to make startups successful. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Thanks very much for the question. I mean, yeah, a lot of startups will fail before the first year of their business because you'll find that if you speak with them, you'll find that most of them didn't do a proper market analysis. The basic is to have a proper market analysis because that way you would even know the challenges that you will find within the first 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year of your business. You know, it will help you plan very well. Okay, because yes, every business is there for profit, but if you don't plan well, then you will fail. So the basic thing is to have a proper market research, is to have a clear focus on what exactly it is you want to achieve. And like I mentioned earlier on, you don't need to start up matching up what competition is doing. You need to start up small and grow from there. You know, yes, there's competition. Maybe you go to a particular shop and they are selling all sorts of products, and you might not have the capital for that. You can start with one and you start it very well. You just reinvest your profit and you continue. If you have a clear vision, a clear focus, a proper analysis, a well thought out plan, I don't think that within the first year you will fail. If you speak with a 15% that fails, you realize that there is something they are doing that these people are not doing, which probably will be the market analysis and then their commitment to succeed.
I would also say it's really been popular, particularly some motivational speakers will encourage you to quit your job and just launch your business. I somewhat disagree with that standpoint. I think if you have a good paying job, it's good to make some savings towards your startup dream and then slowly grow your startup. If you are fortunate to grow your startup to the point where it gives you the money that your pay job is giving you and more, that would be a good time to quit your job, but not before. That is what I will say. And the reason why you fail is somebody has said that you don't have to be perfect to start, but you have to start to be perfect. So perfection takes time, and it's like a snowball rolling and gathering leaves. That's how you grow with, launching these businesses. And it takes time, it's really a marathon. It's not every entrepreneur who is going to make it so quickly, like maybe the Bill Gates and the Mark Zuckerbergs. Mark Zuckerbergs of our time. But sometimes that's what people see, you know, that they quit their college, they quit going to college to launch these businesses. And so people take drastic decisions for their small startups. I would say, think of the long game and then long-term goals rather than short-term goals that you hype yourself over that your business is going to do well, because it's not just how much you wish for your business to scale, but it's how much your customers or potential customers will believe in your startup vision. So that's what I will add.
Okay, thank you. I would also add something from which I think that you and Ransom have perfectly said. In fact, I wrote exactly the same thing. I wrote it market survey, which Ransom, and then orientation, which you also mentioned about. You see, especially in this part of our world, if you don't take care, most businesses, when you are starting a business, and everybody says, I mean, in our local parlance, with this job, there's a lot of money in it. And they don't give you the nitty-gritties of this work. They just tell you that. And if you don't do a proper market survey, you pump in the money and you go and hit a rock. Then you start asking yourself, but they told me there's money in it. But you didn't do a proper market survey. You just listen to these few good, as it were, testimonies, and then you say. So doing a proper market survey, taking yourself out of the survey and doing an objective, proper market survey is very relevant when it comes to startup. Very, very relevant, and it cannot be undermined. A lot of businesses fail because they didn't do proper market survey. They didn't know the rudiments. You want to enter a transport business, go and speak to somebody who has been in a transport business for years. Let him tell you how he does his supervision, what he does right. Learn from listening to him, stay at the back, watch, observe, get all these things, and then you start gradually, then you understand the system. And then orientation, as Efia also said, know that, I mean, it's not all rosy. You don't start and then boom. You might have heard few things. I always say that most entrepreneurs, when you're speaking to them, they will tell you things, they jump from a point to a point. In between that, you don't know how they struggle. So get that orientation that is not easy. And no, sometimes what Efia also said, sometimes I ask myself, when I do present, I tell people, why on earth would you think somebody like the Bank of Ghana governor should resign and then go and set up a business? Entrepreneurship. He is doing very well technically there. So he shouldn't just stand up tomorrow because I want to be entrepreneur, then resign and then go and do it. He's doing so. Sometimes we must also look at these things. Maybe at a point he building, sometimes the small work that you do, it even gives you that network in starting up your business. So we shouldn't just be jumping on somebody's story and then enter into any business. Thank you.
All right, let's continue the slides. And Angie, I'm sure you'll be monitoring the chat. We have another interesting question there.
Okay, so that's actually the part that we're coming to, right?
Yeah.
Ransom.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
Angie, I think you can take these, right?
Yes.
And Ransom,
Actually, Angie is
the chat.
Okay.
Okay. So Albert, to answer your question, right, we have we've listed some questions that can help you to, in a sense, even think about how to start your business, right? And then basically even put together there's a semblance of a business plan. It may not be a full written out plan, but at least something that helps you to have a bird's eye view of how your business is going to be like. So for instance, we have questions. So these are some of the questions that we're asking, that what type of business are you setting up? So what will the day-to-day operations be like? What are you looking at doing on a day-to-day basis for the business? How is the business even going to make money? Because there are so many of us, for instance, you offer some kind of service to people and everyone is like, oh, really, you should turn this into a business. But have you thought through exactly how you are going to charge? Because like it or not, many of us like to get things for free. right? So have you been able to get to a point where you decide, okay, I would only do X, Y, Z, but if you want A, B, C, D, E, F, that one I'm going to charge you for it. And then have you got people who are ready to even pay for that? What is the business model that you are going to be using? Are you going to be offering some services for free, and then are you going to be charging for some others? What is your target market? Which specific people? In marketing, they like to say that you should be able to identify a specific individual. Okay, I think a 21-year-old schoolgirl really, 21-year-old tertiary student really needs this product of mine, or else a 24-year-old young man who likes XYZ actually needs this product. So you should be able to identify even the specific target market that for your product. How are you even going to attract them? What kind of adverts? Maybe these people are on social media now, so that will even influence the kind of advertising that you are going to do. And then you know that your business is not on its own, it's operates within an industry. So you need to find out exactly how the industry itself operates. Are there others who are providing the same kind of service that you are, the same kind of product or service that you have? Is there something that's going to distinguish your product? How are you going to finance your business? They've talked so much about that already. Are you going to use equity or debt? And then can you even decide on the minimum amount that you need to start, so that once you have decided on that minimum amount, maybe you can start with your own savings. So even before you are going to ask family and friends, or you are even reaching out to the venture capital, there is some amount of money that you have been able to put in. Would it be possible to prepare sales projections about how you're even going to sell the product, what pricing you are going to use? Because all of those things are very important, especially as a startup, because sometimes as a startup, you may need to price on the low side just so you can attract people to your specific product or service. Okay, and then some of the other things that had already been mentioned. So what name are you going to use? You should have the name for your business should, I mean, at first glance, anyone who hears the name should have an idea of exactly what your business does. Would you be able to even outline a mission or a vision? Can you get a logo that would clearly outline what your business stands for? Sometimes you may need to invest in like a list of core values, some things that your business will stand for. And then, as was mentioned earlier too, the regulation that even governs your industry, if you need to get some licenses or you need to get some permits, what are the things that you need to do to start? Because you don't want to start and then later on you find yourself foul of the law. It's good to find out all of those things before you even start. And then once you are looking at registering too, it's important to know the tax laws that govern the state and then your specific industry. Are they favorable? Sometimes there are some tax exemptions for startups, but you need to even find out so that you can take advantage of them. Do you need any certifications? Do you need them? How do you get them? Sometimes you may need to go back to school to get some of those certifications just so you can start. And then are you incorporated already? Have you even registered the business? If you aren't registered already, what type of business is best? Because sometimes you may start operating, you are using a certain name, and then you don't register the business early, right? Everyone associates the name with you, and finally you decide to register, and then you find out that you can't even use that name. So it's important to do some of these things early. So for instance, in Ghana, you can go on the the Registrar General's website and then do an initial name search. There's a more advanced search when you go there in person, but you can start by doing the name search just so you don't have the situation where you start using the name and then you go back later and you can't even use it at all. As an institution, would you need directors? Because when you're talking about trying to even go for a loan or making use of venture capital, they may ask for directors. Which people might you need to reach out to? Sometimes people like to reach out to maybe individuals within various careers. So for instance, you may want to get someone, let's say, who is in law to be part of your board of directors so they can provide some legal guidance for you. You may want to get an accountant. You may want to get someone who is who has some IT oversight just so that you reduce your costs. Because if once those people are part of your board, then it means that they have a vested interest in the company, right? And then you yourself are part of the business, so your own CV. Do you have your CV outlined already? What experiences have you had as relates to the specific business that you want to start? Do you maybe need to do an internship just so you can build some experience? Right? And then it comes to some hiring decisions. Is there a minimum number of people that you can start with? Can you do everything all by yourself right from the beginning? Right? Can you start with maybe volunteers? Or do you have money to start hiring right away? And then some other questions, that what will happen for you if everything goes right? What about if everything goes wrong? Do you have a plan B? Would you be able to recover from that? And then, very importantly, what will your next steps be? So after having done this kind of assessment, are you ready to start, or do you need to go back and then start the whole process again? So these are some questions that we thought would be important for everyone who's thinking of starting a business, or if you already have one, it's never too late to even ask yourself some of these questions just so you can find out exactly where you are and then where you want to even go to. I thank you very much.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody. And this is the end of this particular presentation.
Thank you, Ransom. Can you put your coders who travel emails in the chat so that if anyone wants to follow up with you, they can do so?
Sure, that's fine.
If you don't remember, I can help you with it.
No, I do. I do remember. Yeah. So
Fabna, do you remember yours? You're on mute.
For me, I think I'll need help from you.
Okay.
Really?
His email is new, Ransom, allow.
Okay, anyway.
So on your bottom screen, you will see reactions. So if you want to express some emotion, so click on the smiley person at the far right of your screen with the plus symbol. There's a clapping, there's a thumbs up, there's a joy, and open mouth. There's hearts, there's celebrate. So let's show some love to the presenters. All right. So we are doing excellent on time. We have about 7 minutes. If there is one more question we can take, and then we will take a 5-minute break and reconvene at the beginning of 12:30 p.m. my time, 4:30 p.m. GMT Ghana time. Thank you, Carla. Yes, you can also show some love in the chat if there are any comments that you would like to put in.
Okay, and then beyond questions, if anyone maybe also has an experience to share
Okay.
about starting a business and then some lessons they may have learned from that as well.
Thank
Okay,
you,
I see
Angela.
Baobab Entrepreneur has a hand up.
Raised his hand. Hi, Baobab. I think it's Yaya.
Yes, yes, yeah, from
Okay.
Baobab.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I think I have some, an experience of what the last presenter said about registering a business name. Okay, so Baobab Entrepreneur, we are using this name for a while, and then we wanted to go and then register it. When we went there, we were told that the name Baobab had been registered with a lot of names, so it will be difficult for them to register because you have Baobab TV, Baobab Entertainment, and a whole lot. So it's going to be difficult for us to get the same name. So we need to struggle before they give us the name. So I think what he said was right, and I will encourage everybody to find out if a name you are choosing for your company exists. If it doesn't exist, then you continue to use it. Then you try your best to register before it becomes too late. And a friend of mine too is having a Ahafu TV, and for all what he heard is somebody is going to register the name and then use it for a radio television. And that Ahafu TV, they are making a lot of series, and then people are really enjoying them. So he was lucky a friend from that area told him that he need to do fast and register. So he did a very smarter way to register the name, and then the man who wanted to register couldn't do it, and he was able to get the name. So that's what maybe I also advise.
Yeah. Thank you, Yaya. Great contribution.
Yeah, and sorry, just to add something to what he just said. As much as it is important to register the name of your business, you also would want to be on the safer side. You would want to have maybe 3 proposed names, so that in case you go and they say this one has been registered, you have another one ready, you have another one ready. Instead of, because sometimes when you quickly have to think through and come up with a name, you might come up with a name that will not fit the brand. So you might carefully want to think through about 2 or 3 options, just so that when you go, you have at least one option to pick.
We also have some feedback in the chat. Judith Agwachi says, it's also good to test the market with your product and incorporate the feedback into subsequent releases. I think she was contributing to the market research. There's Silva, he says, the hardest thing I've realized in business is managing people, getting them to work well when you need it. Any tip how to manage people? Very interesting. So I'll take a shot at it because I'm the founder of Coders Who Travel. A while ago, around 2013 through to about 2015, I had a great female boss. And one of the things that I learned from her was that she was the hardest working whenever you were working with her. She was also very nurturing and understood, if issues came up that she couldn't meet certain deadlines. And so I realized that when you're leading people, it's not just talk and creating big ideals for people to follow, but you yourself, you are trying to avoid the work. So do your work and show an example, and hopefully the right people that you've surrounded yourself with will be inspired by that, and they will also work hard. So that would be my 2 cents. Yes, Angie is, emphasizing lead by example, because it's not what you say, it's what you do that people will do.
Yeah, and I think that Ifya has done well by at least giving an answer to that. But if you really want to manage people, it entails quite a lot, which she summarized. And so I'm sure with time, maybe Ifya is something you might want to look at, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a
also
workshop
have
on
a
that.
session on how to manage people, because yeah, it's very detailed. And You've done very well by at least summarizing it for him. But just to get them to know details of it, maybe you might want us to.
So, sorry, I was asked this question because I happen to be working with quite a number of people, and sometimes you engage the person, then you have to drop the person, but in between your engagement with the person and dropping the person, you've lost money. And that's not probably because you don't show the example, but how to just get people to do the work. And in Africa, people like giving excuses why they can't do things. That is the
Silva, you can
Yes.
implement a short volunteering program. This is something that I have learned because I work with volunteers a lot, that those who volunteer the best work the hardest when they are actually paying them to. So we can brainstorm, but I want to keep us honest on the time. I think Honorable Kobe wanted to say something. Was that right?
Yes, I did.
Speak a bit louder. We cannot hear you.
Yes, I did. I wanted to chip something in.
All right, go
Can you hear
ahead.
me?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Very great presentation. What I wanted to say actually was for entrepreneurs, I think that we should not wait for the right time. If I say the right time, what I mean is that a lot of times money, you never have as much money as you want, or you never have all the resources that you need to start your business. So once you believe that it has to be done and you have actually done all the relevant checks for it, I mean, you should start. I'm saying this along the lines of running about 4 or 5 businesses, which are all quite doing well. Being a civil engineer, managing about 40 a workforce of about 40. So I think the most important thing I would say is that there's never the right time to start a business. And if you wait, you will wait forever. Yes. But it's always good to also, it's always good to also seek advice and not be the know-all. I think it's always important to seek advice, not reinvent the wheel. And yes, I think that's what I would want to chip in for now. Yes.
Thank you. And that puts us at 1 minute after. So we're going to switch to the next presentation. I see that we had some new people joining us. And so because of that, at every hour, we will come in and introduce the partners. So if you're joining us, welcome to the Establishing Technology Footprints for the Advancement of Agribusinesses. Ransom, can you please stop sharing your screen? Oh,